are you there?
Yeah. Why is there an echo? Ovia, mute yourself,
I don't
please.
know.
Hello, 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 hello. Oh yeah, it's gone.
You're listening to the Naija Lockdown Breakdown on Not Just OK Radio.
Yes, 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 yes. Welcome to another week with us right here on Naija Lockdown Breakdown. Obviously, it's me, your usual host, Afro7, and with me, I've got my lovely co-host, Ify. Say hi.
Hi guys, welcome back to the show.
Yes, yes, yes. So, we've got a lot for you guys to discuss this week. So, hopefully, we can make our way through the entire list. To start off with, Kaisha got evicted on Sunday as the only housemate to leave the house. That was, well, I won't say it was weird because I guess it was getting a bit predictable, so they needed to switch it up for the housemates and the viewers. She got evicted, having received
Yeah.
the highest of the four lowest votes. So that's a bit ironic. For the second time in the show, the person with the highest of the four lowest votes got evicted, as with Lilo, same with Kaisha. Shout out to her and good luck to her with the future endeavors. All right. So that's what happened during this last eviction round, and currently we've got what is it? 15 housemates now, I think. Got 15 housemates still
Yes.
in the house. Yep, yep, yep. And yeah, that's what it is. So this week we've got, how many topics do we have? Iffy, about 6 topics to get through.
About 6 topics, yes. Yes.
Yeah, and we just want to start it off with the most controversial aspect of the week. That was the fights. And yeah, exactly. We've broken it down into two segments for you guys. We want to talk about the overall implication of the warnings by Big Brother. Now, if you watched the show in the past week, I'm sure you all did if you're tuned in, it was quite a boring week, yeah, until Friday night. Was it Friday night or Saturday night? Saturday night with
It was
Wathoni.
Friday night. No, it was Friday night first. No, that's Friday night with Wathoni and Erica, and then Sunday afternoon, when we had
With
Nengi and Kaisha
and Kasha.
fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, post all that, Big Brother decided to issue a general warning to the house on their behavior. Now, mind you, it can be argued, I think I even saw one of them myself, that Nengi pushed Kaisha in annoyance. It wasn't even a push, it was more like a get out of my way kind of side movement. When
Yes.
you
Yes.
move someone out of the way with your forearm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she did that a couple times, but none of the incidents were violent, aggressive certainly, but none of the incidents were violent. It was just shouting and mostly arguments. Now, I don't think, in my very humble opinion, especially from what I've seen, the Erica and Wathoni incident, I don't think that warranted a warning. I definitely don't think the Lucy and, from what we saw, Lucy and Nengi incident warranted a warning. And you could go at a stretch and say the Kaisha and Nengi incident warranted a warning. But my fear now is that, given that the show was so sedate last week, in your opinion, Iffy, does this threaten to make the show really boring and incident free?
Yes, I really think that for me that wasn't such an excellent move because I mean these are like adults. This is a show clearly rated 18 and above. So it means that when you have full grown adults, human beings locked up in a house together, there's bound to be altercations, there's bound to be conflict. Okay, so if there is obviously like this violence or whatever, that's an extreme case. But I don't think
Of
based on
course.
what happened over the weekend, there was any need at all for even any warning, if I may say. Maybe the Nengi and Kaisha because there was physical contact, but having to call out Erica and Lucy, and for me, just didn't make any kind of sense
And
because you see,
Wathoni.
like these are adults. And Wathoni, yes, so like they had verbal altercations. Are you saying that they can't argue? Are you saying, I mean, this is not a solemn assembly, it's a show. The conflicts and resolutions of the conflict there, this is a part that's like part of the show. It's all part of the entertainment as well for us. I mean, of course, nobody wants, people that are constantly fighting or whatever it is, but the week was clearly dead. So that was like the only, as a matter of fact, that was the highlight of the week. Like the the fight with Erica and Wathoni, and then the one with, I mean, like, it was funny. People found it funny because obviously they weren't going to hit each other. I am sure
Yeah.
that if it got to that part, then, because I mean, there were other housemates there, they would have tried to prevent that from happening. But I don't think that completely saying, "Oh, you guys can't be fighting," is does the show any good at all, because everybody's now being very careful
Very
and being
careful.
mindful of, airing their opinions, and then I don't think like it really makes for an exciting show
I mean,
anymore.
it kind of leads. It's they've got some schizophrenic information so far. On the one hand, you have Big Brother warning them about altercations because all they did, in my opinion, was to argue. Okay, so Big Brother's warning them about
Mm-hmm.
arguments. On the other hand, you've got Ebuka saying to the housemates, if you've got something to say to someone, go and say it to their face. So obviously, people are
Yes.
gonna be like, "Come on, which one do you want us to do?"
Confused. Like, so what? Are we fighting? Or are we? Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Do you understand? Because if you've got something's bothering you and you go and say it to someone's face, it could lead to an argument, and everybody's trying to avoid
Mm-hmm,
arguing. So it's kind of
mm-hmm,
schizophrenic, and to me, it looks like they're a bit confused as to what it is they want. I understand that there are political implications to fights or arguments or whatever on the show, but it's a show for 18-year-olds and above. 18 is the legal
yes.
age for adulthood in Nigeria, hence, it's a show for adults. So I don't know, I don't know. But anyway, I hope they look into that. Like, they need to turn up. Seriously, today's Tuesday. It's not been that fun so far from yesterday till today. So they definitely need to turn up. Big Brother's on holiday. Hopefully, they've got some interesting things up their sleeves. Cause boy,
Lined up.
it's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah, So anyway, that's just the fights that happened during the course of the, just the
Just
overall impression. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So speaking about fights, Tola, like there's this fight between Bethany and Erica. I don't know if you watched it, but
I saw clips of it. I was
I'm just
sleeping.
okay. Okay. So I'm just going to give like I'll try to make it not too long, but I just want to give like, because I watched it from start to finish, so basically, the fight with Wathoni and Erica, that was my highlight of the week, because the week was so boring and we needed something, and I mean they gave us. So yes, I'm grateful for that fight. I mean, clearly Wathoni has issues with Erica. I mean, this one will be them say, she said it repeatedly to other people. She also acts like it, you know. And in my opinion, what the genesis of this fight, or this whatever it is that she feels for Erica, happens to stem from that singular kiss from Kidwaya during the Truth or Dare game. The fact that kiss has gone to build room and palo in Watani's head, so because I mean, that was, how can a kiss that was given to you in the course of a game, like, mean so much to you and all of that. So I mean, at this time, Kid and Erica were already getting close, as we already knew. They were exploring their physical attraction, even though they had not gotten physical yet. But when it was obvious, and even to the majority of the house as well, that there was something there. So if I remember, during the game when Bethany asked Nengi to choose between Kid and Prince, who she should kiss, and then Nengi chose Kid. I remember the opera on Twitter that day, because everybody like, I thought you and Erica are friends now. How can you say she should go and kiss Kidwaya? So it means that prior to that time, Kidwaya and Erica already had something going, you know. And then, of course, in the course of in the days after that, Wathani had continued to antagonize Erica and all of that. So earlier on that evening, Erica had gone to meet Wathani to say, hey, listen, girl, like, I don't know what's going on between us. It seems to me like you don't like me and all of that and all of that. Is there any particular thing that I did to you, that makes you feel so strongly about me? Let's work it out and all of that. And I mean, I think they had a good conversation and they seem to have worked it out. And then just a few minutes after that, they're in the garden having a conversation. And then Erica goes, oh, I've never chased after a man. In other words, now them, they rush me. So, to which Wathoni quickly replied and said, oh, and said to Kidwaya, she said, oh, Kid, we all know you never chase any girl in this house, right? I mean, this is clearly shade, intended to shade Erica and all of that. Anyway, to cut the long story short, Erica had a conversation with Kid about the displeasure, like how even the way he responded, she wasn't pleased about it and all of that. So we thought he had ended. And then next scene, they show Erica again, talking to Wathoni at the dressing area. So Erica started off smiling, as a matter of fact. In fact, I think people were like, oh, why is she smiling? She should tell her off and all of that. So she started speaking to her about it, about her shading her, asking her again, oh, I thought we were cool just a few minutes ago. How do you then go about shading me and blah blah blah? And then Wathoni just goes crazy about it and starts saying, "Oh, I don't want anything. Oh, with Kidwaya this, Kidwaya. From where to where now?" Erica, like, no, listen, I'm talking to you. Like, me, this affects me. Like, how did we end up here? Like, how did we get to? And she just kept talking about, oh, is it because of man? Please, oh, she cannot fight with these people. Oh, I have a kid. I have a child. Oh, I have a son. I'm older than these people. I'm 29 years old. Erica goes like, then act like it. You know Anyways, long story short, again, when they went back to, I mean, of course, it wasn't really going as, I don't think Erica's intention was to, that is for my own observation, could be wrong. I don't think her intention was to cause any fights or any wars or anything between her and Wathoni. However, in the course of, because Wathoni kept calling people, she called Lucy first, and Erica like, why are you calling people? She called Tolani bad, she called, so she was just trying to involve everybody into that conversation that was supposed to be like them trying to resolve whatever was going on with them. And then she now goes out to the lounge and starts screaming. And Erica comes and tries to clear her and all of that. And then, unfortunately for Erica, because nobody else heard the conversation with them whilst they were in the dressing room. And then Erica now go like, oh, you have a son, so act like it. Of course, that is all they talked about from then onwards, saying, oh, Erica, So I feel like on Erica's part, she was just upset at Wathoni's disrespect. But clearly, Wathoni has something against Erica, maybe like the whole Kidwaya thing, because she mentioned it so many times. So yeah, that was an interesting fight. I was actually clapping and shouting, like, because I mean the week was dead. That was like, yes, I'm a ball. So yes, it was a good one. I'm also glad that like nobody threw blows or anything, So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm upset that I missed it, to be honest, because waking up and
I
reading about it on Twitter, I was like, damn, look at what I missed. People were so excited. But I caught clips. Of Erica, of Wathoni walking to the living area and Erica coming and then she's saying, don't touch me. And then Erica saying, what will happen if I touch you? But that to the side, can you really say that this fight wasn't about Kidwaya? Now, listen, I understand what Erica said to Wathoni, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to put it in a bigger context for you now. Erica appears to me to be insecure with respect to Kidwaya's affections for her. She, in many ways, joking in quotes, many ways, tries to elicit from him the exact nature of the feelings he has towards her. Now, if you're an avid watcher of the show like we are, I think it's apparent at this point that Kidwaya is fond of Erica. But I'm not certain that Erica really understands or believes that Kid is fond of her. So she tries in many ways to ascertain exactly what it is he feels for her. So given that insecurity, and Kid's, so he was a flirt with probably the entire female population of the house at one point, maybe minus Lucy and what's her name? 3, minus Lucy and Katharina. He flirted pretty much with the female population of the house, and it was well known that Wathoni had designs on Kidwaya. In fact, she was a little bit, possessive over him, which is really weird, but she was. So do you think that you can completely rule out Kidwaya being a reason that, one, Erica and Wathoni no longer get on, and 2, that caused that fight between Erica and Wathoni? Given Kid's own, he was sort of nonchalant about it, the shade went over his head. Do you think there's a possibility that Erica's insecurity might have influenced that fight?
Okay, so in response to that, I'd say I wouldn't rule it out 100%. However, Erica's like what you said, her constantly checking to know that, okay, this is how you feel about me. I think it was really apparent, in maybe last week and the week before, when Kidwaya, I remember like there was a time when Kidwaya was really like generally man about town, willing to, yes. So I think, I mean, based on that, I don't think it would be wrong for anyone to feel a type of way about it. Okay. So after that, I think this, like from last week at least, last week seemed like she was pretty much settled, because Kidwaya was a sweetheart. I'm not even going to lie, even with the altercation with Tony, the way he handled it, because I know that a lot of people would just go like, what, yeah, just be going a beg, or whatever it is, and she said a lot of things that night, by the way, that would have set any guy off, but then somehow, he stayed there. He made sure that he calmed her down and tried to speak to her and everything. So yes, I won't rule out the fact that, but I think the antagonism comes mostly from Wathoni. Okay, yes, towards Erica. So which is what she was trying to clear up. She's like, okay, man, I don't want us to be fighting or whatever. So whatever it is, let's trash it out. Like, let's talk about it and move on from there. So
Okay,
yes, I agree with you that there's obviously. Yeah, go ahead, please.
here's another question for you though. However, what is Wathoni's problem? Only she liked Kidwaya. Only she liked Eric. Now she's making small moves towards Bright. Like what? Like how many men in that house can she like or feel entitled to their attention? How many men exactly? And Neo too. She's already said if Neo weren't paired
How
with
could he have
V,
skipped? Yeah, how could he have skipped? What's his name? Prince. Come on. That was like the main
oh,
object
sorry,
of
yes,
her
of course, and
affection.
and Prince as well. So it's like she's like five guys in the house. There are other women in the house, a house of 10 women. Only you like five guys, and somehow you somehow feel it's okay to slight the different women as a result of these affections. I mean, I see something between she and Dora coming in front if she doesn't get evicted over the weekend. But how does someone move like that? I don't understand it.
So honestly, I don't know what because she's such a gorgeous woman. Like it's unbelievable how she doesn't even see herself or the way that we see her. I think when she came in, she was like for me one of the most gorgeous women that walked into the show.
Honestly,
But then like
honestly.
over the weeks,
Second
like
only to
she's just
Erica. Sorry. Go on.
I'm telling you, yes, like I actually agree with you, like I
Mm-hmm.
felt like, she's such a gorgeous woman. How does this woman not see herself the way we see her? So in fact, I remember a conversation between Bright and Tochi and I think Kidwaya or someone else in the garden, when they talked about Wathoni and they said, that one, anyone goes, like she's just looking for, and I
Wow.
mean, like I think that's really just such a not a
Wow.
good look. I don't know what it is. Like why she's so like about she wants to be booed up, wants to be booed up and all of that. I think that I mean, like if relationships, you can't force it. Okay, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But then when people, even the guys as well, when they see, I mean, you've moved on to five guys, so I'm the sixth guy that's available now. Do you think I'm going to like take you seriously? Because it seems
Exactly.
like okay, nah, scarce
Exactly.
resources now they bring nonsense. So
Exactly.
I don't want to like. So yeah, I mean, like that is it just seems like a desperate act for me.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish I could whisper to her like nobody likes this kind of behavior, be you male or
I
female. No,
know, I
you
know.
want to chase someone that you feel is worth it. Desperation stinks, okay? And at this point she's
Mm-hmm.
appearing rather desperate. I mean, look at Prince
Yes,
and
yes.
Tolani Bash. They look like they're homies. And for Prince to turn down Wathoni for Tolani Badge, it says something about Wathoni. Because I mean, apart from dance floor on Saturday night, what really do Prince and Badge do? They talk one sentence every so often, and they go their separate ways. Do you
Yeah,
see
and
what
it's
I'm
so
saying?
strained.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah,
look
exactly.
happy.
Yes.
She's very pointed with the conversations that they have. If she has a question, she's gonna ask him pointedly, and he's sort of guarded. So it gives him an appearance of like incompatibility. Do you see what I'm saying? And then for him to like
Yes,
shun
yes.
Wathoni, who's generally more easy. She's gonna be more accepting of his questionable behavior. For him to shun her for Tolani Badge, I don't know. I don't want to put it all on Wathoni, but there must be something they're seeing that we're not seeing in full effect. So I wish you could just calm it down,
It's it's
honestly.
it's it's quite telling. There's a lot of it on Wathoni. I'm not even gonna lie. I like Wathoni. When she came in, she was like my first top five girls, in the house. Top two actually. I really liked her. I thought like she was gorgeous and everything. And like, man, but then even from the beginning as well, she seemed a bit cold. But I mean, I was unable to like overlook that and just still like focus on like, oh, she's this, and even the way she speaks and all of that, because she's well spoken and all. But then I mean, it's just such a letdown for me, that the what I thought she would be isn't. It's very far from who she appears to be in the house right now.
Yeah.
Shout out to the R&D, just real quick. The polls. I just want to make the announcement. Go vote for your housemate of the week right now on Not Just Okay. Twitter handle at Not Just Okay. You have about 10 minutes to go. Vote for your
All
housemate
right.
of the week. All right.
Thank you for that, OVA. And after that, now we're going to take some quick Twitter comments on the topic, on the matter. So we've got one for Ohima at Tolu Olayinka says, in Wakonzi's defense, Wakonzi is Wathoni, in Wakonzi's defense, she says they are just her spec. It doesn't mean she likes or has feelings for them. I didn't get it either because all the men are very different. And then she adds, it was Wakonzi that actually friend-zoned Prince when she saw he was going for Nengi. And the final comment on that by Nawi Startam. She says, lots of ladies in that house that crave male validation. 40 watts is just noisy with her own. So 40 watts, Wakonzi, Waz, Walombo, all these names, they're all referring to Wathoni.
Wathoni.
Now, do we take us to YouTube? Do we have any comments over on YouTube before we move on to the
Yes,
next
we have.
matter?
Yes, we have a few comments here. Bola Joko Jacob says, "Kid is the one that Wathoni really wants." Bolaji. Okay, I'm sure a lot of viewers shared that same ideas. I know. Musonda Kangwa says, Prince did not turn down Wathoni. Wathoni removed herself from the situation, saying she'd rather not be involved than jeopardize her relationship with Tolani Badge. Okay, Musonda, we hear you. Thank you, Tala. I can go back to
Thank you, listeners.
yeah.
Please keep on sending your comments. We're reading them, and they're informing these very lively discussions we have about the events in the house. Now, moving on. This was a discussion we were having on Twitter a couple of days ago, and I thought it would be pertinent to discuss it on the show. Guys, please let me know your thoughts. This is very important going forward, especially with this topic, that you let me know what you think. The matter is, prosecution arise. Are all future contestants aware of how to sway the public? Okay, because I'm seeing some comments about, with respect to Lakon's behavior towards Erica in particular, that it could be contrived, that this is something he might have been advised to do outside the house. And then you juxtapose that with Prince, who's very guarded, very controlled. He's in a ship that he seems reluctant to be in, so perhaps he thinks it serves his game somehow. And then we have Neo, who was super loud in the beginning, almost modeling himself after Omashola from Worry, good looking,
Yeah.
can dress, is athletic, he's slim, and he made it very known that he was from Worry. He wore that on his sleeve without shouting Worry, but he wore it on his sleeve. Okay, then he sort of took a dive for 2 weeks and he's been called to it by Ibuka, so now he's back on the rise. His loquacity is going to drive us all crazy. You can blame Ibuka for that. But all these trends. And then you have Nengi, who, when she first came in the house, people thought she was an amalgam of Mercy and Tacha, with the way she dressed, her overt flirtatiousness. These things sort of shaped fans' perceptions of the contestants very early on in the game. Now, given what you've seen, Ife, and our listeners, do you think that by now current and future housemates are very much aware of how to sway the public? And do you think that they are modeling their tactics, strategies on past housemates and what they believe the viewers liked in past housemates?
Yes, I definitely agree with this point of view, because specifically this season, the scene, everybody seems so calculating, and then they know just what the viewers want. Because you see, most of the current housemates are proper, pure, unashamed R&D. Like they have watched the show through and through, and they know just what buttons to press, really. So it's like, for instance, like for instance, Lakon, it seems like, okay, he knows exactly what the viewers would want to get out of this sort of situation. You see Nengi, the Nengi situation, and then like the Nengi that we're seeing now seems to me like the actual Nengi. Do you understand? Like,
I
so
agree.
this is like, yeah, so I mean, like, everybody is now settled and everybody's back to default. So we're seeing like the really sweet person that she's all about her game, she's all about trying to win tasks, and she's actually sweet. The over flirtatiousness was just, it seemed like to me like an act. Because I mean, if that is who you are now, since that time, it's almost like, okay. Again, so about Nengi, I'm not sure if the thing with Lucy, Auntie Lucy, I'm not sure if it has a hand in how she is now. But then I just think that this is the true Nengi that we know and we love.
I agree.
And then so for a lot of the housemates, it just seems like, yes, they know, they have an idea what the viewers want to see, what the viewers, even the way they have conversations as well. Like they tell you, oh, that year on Twitter, now they even tweet all this kind. So they really know like how the it is out here, So I'll say, just try and be yourself as much as you can. There are people, I'm not saying they're not being real or whatever like that, but then just don't put on too much of an act. Be yourself. It's an entertainment show, so entertain us as much as you can. However, in playing your game, we just still want to see your originality. Like we still want to see you, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
for Neo, for instance, I mean, like me, I liked that loud Neo, that one that was so noisy and everything, you know. That is yes. I mean, like I know, I think at the point when everybody was saying, "About this guy is too loud," I was probably one of the few people who would say, "Oh, I really, really like Neo," and I mean, like I like to see that Neo back, not
His
this one that's
looks
constantly
or
calculating.
the wait, did you like his looks or the guy?
Oh, I liked his loudness actually. I liked how you guys used to be so annoyed on Twitter. OVA, excuse me, let me
Say
finish.
the truth. Just say the truth. You've not said it's beautiful today yet, Abi. I mean, just say it. I'm like, you
Come
are just
on, Neo is
beating
a
around the bush.
beautiful
That's
man, of
all you are
course.
doing. You are beating. Tell us what you really think about
OVA,
Neo.
I
He's
dey vex, I
beautiful.
dey vex. Calm down now.
He's
OVA, I dey
he's
vex.
a
Make I vex
he's a
finish now.
beautiful man. He's a beautiful
Ah,
man.
we've gotten there. Okay,
Thank you,
my
Tola.
job is
God
done.
bless you. Goodbye. Yes. So, you know, yes, I mean, like, so, I mean, oh, yeah, for me was like, I mean, like, someone to just totally watch out for, you know. So that is Neo, sorry, Ovie. Ovie, see what you, of course. You know, so yes, like, Neo was for me one to watch out for, you know, like, I liked his loudness. I liked, because it was obvious that that's his true personality, you know. But then all of a sudden, he just disappears into God knows what. You know, I don't know what game that was. He became so calculative, trying to, like, you know, plot this, plot that, you know, get. And I mean, I think it worked in his favor anyways, considering how the housemates voted for him this week. So he kind of tries to get on everybody's good side and all of that, you know. But yeah, I just want Neil to relax and enjoy himself. You know, he's an entertainer. He's good to look at. You know, he has a lot to give to us, and we're not seeing it.
Okay.
So come on, Neil, give us something.
What about Kidwaya? Kidwaya seems to have this prescience where the game is concerned. He seems to be able to read it, understand what viewers want, and he's so generous with that understanding. He actually advises other housemates on how to improve their game. However, he seems to be too on the button. So for me, I suspect that he's also, because I think people think because of his social status, you know, him being the son of a billionaire, etc., that he couldn't have possibly had time for the show. But if you had designs on being on the show, you will prep yourself for what you're coming to see, either reading articles, watching YouTube clips, reading Twitter handles, etc. So to me, I can't put it down to him just being smart. You know, because a lot of people, because he's quite a likable guy, a lot of people would like to imagine that it's just because he's smart. That's why he can, you know. But no, I think he's very much aware of the show and what viewers like. Just like a few other housemates, like Prince, like Neo, like Nengi, and to a degree, Erica. Do you see what I'm saying? Hello?
Yeah. Okay, so like about Kidwa, yes, I can hear. Can you hear me, Tola?
I can now, yes.
Can you hear me, Tola?
I can, yes.
Okay, good. So okay, good. So about Kidwaya, right? I hear what you're saying, but I'm not sure that I agree 100% with that because Kidwaya sort of gives off even the different personalities about Kafi. I remember how Kafi was, you know. I think it has to do with orientation, like how they're set up, like where they're coming from or whatever like that, you know. That's what I think. That's my personal opinion about that. He seems to have he's a lot more liberal and less, you get, like, he's a lot more liberal and obviously more how to use like he understands a lot of the situations better. Even his conversations, there's a lot more nuance. He knows, like, there are different sides to something, even in his handling of Erica, because Erica can really get a little too much sometimes with her, you know what I mean? You know, so even with the way he handles us, I think it's just more about his person, like his personality, his personal development and how he's socialized than necessarily about the show. That's my personal take about Kidwaya.
I don't disagree with that, but I think you're giving him a little bit too much credit. Like, I think there's no way I can discount the idea that he's familiar with the show and familiar with what viewers enjoy seeing. Now, we have a comment right here that I just want to take really quickly. It's from at Olugbemi, spelt with a V instead of a U. He says, they're playing games, but there's no way for them to know that it's working. Well, if they're still in the house, it must be working. Lecan, the persecution started from day one when certain viewers mocked his appearance. He couldn't have fabricated that and his entanglement with Erica. I agree with the first part. I don't think he could have known that viewers and other housemates were overlook his potential just by his physical appearance. But the entanglement with Erica, given the way he speaks about her to other housemates and the way he speaks to her, the divergence leads me to believe maybe all is not pure. I don't know, but I can see how other people can conclude
That's possible
the
too.
same. Yeah, I can see. And then we have from Pet Projects, at the Pet Project says, I think most of them come in with a game plan prepared by a team, hence the calculated approach to everything. All we need is a creative production team to spin things in the way they would not expect. I agree with you, Pet Projects. Thank you very much for that. And my last word on that, before we go on to the next topic, is if you like, carry strategy from 10 planets. I don't care. Just come and entertain us. That's the long and short of it. If you're playing a game that's obvious, it means that your strategy is trash. So whatever you're doing, just come and entertain us. Me, in fact, I like strategy. If you're going to be deliberate about being entertaining, I rate you for that. Just be entertaining. That's my own. I'm not anti-strategy. I'm anti-boringness. That's, that's my essential.
That's what's up.
Yes, and speaking of Kidwaya Ife, he won head of house this week. So what's your take on that?
Okay.
Yeah. What?
I first of all, congratulations to Kidwaya for winning the head of house this week. I think that this is week 5, right? Last week he was deputy HOH, second to Erica, and I mean this week he emerged again. So that's like 2 straight weeks of immunity. Like, I mean, how much more lucky can one get?
Exactly.
So it's not an easy feat at all.
Do you know? Sorry to cut you.
So I think that, I mean,
sorry
like,
to
shout out
cut
to
you.
Kidwaya.
Sorry to cut you. That actually guarantees him 4 weeks in the house.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, I said sorry to cut you off. That actually guarantees him 4 weeks in the house. Being deputy head of house means that he knows that he's there for that week, and even if he's up, he's there for the next week. Now he's head of house again. So I mean, it's great. It's great. He really lucked out there, boy. Right. Sorry. Carry on.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. So think about the decision to his head.
Ooh. Yes, our co-host internet is doing what it does. You know how Nigerian networks can be. But I mean, we were just talking about Kidwaya and the fact that he's now head of house. Congratulations to him and his decision to choose Tolani Badge as his deputy head of house. Listeners, please let me know what you think about this, because I have a hot take, but I need Ife's internet to work before I share this hot take with you. So we're hopefully gonna wait for her to come back, and we'll move on to another topic before we explore my hot take on Kidwaya's choosing.
I was gonna ask. Shout out to the R&D. I mean, it's Kidwaya and Erica, right? They're the ones that are a thing. So why did he pick Tolani Badge? Where did that come from? Well, I guess, do you want to, it was just weird to me. It was quite random. I was like, what's in the happen here? Is my guy shifting allegiance? Or...
So, I mean, so if he's saying she was logged off, can you please help her with that? So I'll answer your questions while you help her with that. Listeners, this is my hot take. I don't know if you're aware that there was a conversation between Erica and Tolani Badge in the kitchen prior to the head of house games, where she told Tolani, she said, I told Kid that if he wins head of house, he must pick you. Conversation 1. Tolani obviously was elated.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me, Tola?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you. Welcome back. So we were just developing the conversation. But if you'd like to just reintroduce it, Kidwaya won head of house. He chose Tolani as his DHOH. That's where we are. So carry on.
Okay. So I wanted to know what you felt about Kidwaya's decision to choose his deputy Tolani Badge, seeing as I don't know how close he is. It seemed to me like it was influenced by Erica. So what do you think about that?
Yes, Ovia was just asking me the same thing, and I was in a course of answering it. So let's go back to the top. I was saying to the listeners, do you remember when Erica and Tolani had the conversation in the kitchen, and she informed Tolani that, she had told Kidwaya that should he win, he must pick Tolani. Tolani was elated, blah, blah, blah. This is prior to the games. And then following that, Kidwaya himself
Yeah.
told Tolani that he was going to pick her, and Erica reminded him that, listen, remember that I told you to pick her. Kidwaya was like, no, and explaining his reasoning. And then Erica said, yeah, but then I said what? And then he conceded that, okay, yeah, she did mention it to him as well, but it was actually his decision. When they had their diary sessions prior to the games, he said to Big Brother that he would like to see Barge as a head of house, if not himself, because he likes her demeanor. She's, potentially a leader, blah, 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 blah. So lo and behold, Waya does win the head of house, and he does choose Tolani. Now, here's my hot take. I think in advising Waya to choose Tolani, Erica was trying to control the possible outcome. Because remember, earlier in this conversation, we alluded to the fact that she wasn't secure in his affections. He has a close relationship with Nengi. And he's also kind of, in Erica's mind, maybe something to do with what Tony might still be lingering up somewhere. I'm not sure. But as a viewer, it's obvious to me that Waya likes Erica. Do you understand? So I don't know that he would have chosen Wathoni.
Yeah.
But Erica couldn't say for sure that he would not have chosen either Wathoni or Nengi. So in suggesting Barge, she was trying to control the possible outcome in the eventuality that he became head of house. So it wasn't a completely altruistic gesture from Erica. For her, it was a means to make sure that Waya did not stray outside of the confines that she would prefer that he remained in. Because obviously Tolani is not a threat. Tolani has Prince on deck. Whatever you think of their relationship, do you understand? And Tolani herself is far too grateful to ever even consider looking at Waya in that, in that way. And plus, she's Erica's girl for real in the house.
Yes.
So what do you think about that?
Yes, I completely agree with that. Yes, I completely agree with what you just said, Tola. The truth is, it was Erica's decision, as a matter of fact. She had said to him, because my homegirl is also trying to protect her home front as well. I don't think that Kidwaya would have chosen Wathoni, because then that would have been outright disrespect and disregard for Erica. So bringing Wathoni up, I don't really think that she would have even come up at all in the scheme of things, because of the rivalry, or whatever I would call it, between Erica and Wathoni. And I know that Kidwaya cares a lot for Wathoni, for Erica, my bad. And so I don't think that he would have considered Wathoni. However, Erica doesn't trust Nengi's intentions towards Kidwaya, seeing how much they had flirted with each other in the past. So of course, based on what she had seen, it's obvious that, okay, so if I have to manipulate this thing a little in my favor, then I will. What made me happy in all of that, for me, that's also proof that this guy really rates this girl. Is the fact that, he won the HOH for himself. So it's basically his decision to make. What I really like about this whole thing is the fact that he considered her feelings. He considered, her in the decision that he made. He considered how it would make her feel at the end of the day. So whatever the decision was, whether he says it was, well, of course he wouldn't nominate someone who he thinks is not capable of being his deputy anyways. Do you understand? I don't think that maybe if Kaisha was in the house, I don't think that Kidwaya sees Kaisha capable of handling, being the deputy to him. So I doubt that he would have chosen someone like Kaisha, not for anything, but just because I don't think he would. I don't believe that he would think Kaisha would be capable of handling, what comes with being the deputy. Yes. So the other person would be Dora. I don't think that Kidwaya and Dora are friends in that way as well. So
no, I don't think
his
so.
options were really his options were very few. Yes, quite thin. And so I think that Tolani Bad for me was a fantastic choice, all things considered.
Yes, I think she was a good choice as well, all things considered. But let's just look at these things holistically. It was a nice gesture, but it wasn't all altruistic. So just
yes, I agree
just
with
to
you.
let the listeners know that we peep that we see your game, Erica. It's a smooth one.
But that's fine. I like that he also just accorded her that regard or respect or whatever you may call it, that he made her know, because if Erica has ever doubted that Kidwaya cares about her, I think this would be proof. Because at the end of the day, he doesn't owe you to reciprocate or to do your bidding when it comes to something that he wants for himself. So I like that, he considered her feelings, he considered, his relationship with her, and how ultimately whoever who chose would affect his relationship with her. So I'm pretty pleased that he did that.
Shout out to the R&D. Just to be sure,
Shout
why?
out to you, OVA.
Just to be sure. Shout out to you, News wife. Anyways, just to be sure,
Oh my God.
why wasn't Kid able to pick Erica as his deputy? Was there a rule against picking Erica, or maybe picking the prior head of house?
Who's the question to?
To news.
Well, so I can answer that.
Well, so if you've been head of house, you can't be considered for deputy or participate in the following head of house games. So that precluded Erica, which is why Erica was trying to arrange the choice for deputy. You know, she couldn't.
RNG.
Yeah, exactly. She couldn't partake because she was the previous head of house. So she couldn't play in the game or be chosen because that would give her automatic 2 weeks immunity. But they didn't really think that thing through because the deputy is still able to enjoy 2 weeks immunity, but the head of house is not. So essentially, you don't get any benefits of being the head of house because apart from immunity, which someone else also gets, but then the someone else can vie for the head of house position the following week and you can't. So it's ultimately much better to win deputy head of house position
Yes.
than to be the head
Because
of
you
house.
still stand a chance the week after, exactly.
Just like Wire. Right now. You know, so
yeah.
they didn't think that one through at all. But here we are. Do we have any comments on YouTube?
Yes, we do. Musanda Kangwa said, it was not his decision, though. That is speaking of Kidwaya. Erica made the decision for him. And then Justina Folojo said, I think Kid wanted Nengi and not Tolani Badge. What do you think about that, Ola?
Well, someone else agrees. Priscilla at Hadufe on Twitter says, Kid was definitely going to pick Nengi. Saudat says, Saudat says the decision to pick T-Barge as DHOH was in fact a lot of Erica's actions of late has stemmed from her insecurities. I just wish she wasn't so insecure. Okay. And Elsion says, exactly, Iffy. I doubt he would have ever considered Wathoni. I think his options would have been T-Badge, Odora, or Nengi. He loves to win and would definitely have chosen strategically. Olugbemi says, Erica's recent closeness to Tolani Badge also influenced that choice. I don't think Kid would have considered Wathoni though. Nengi perhaps. She didn't even come up in the other options he listed for the role. You are right, Olu. You are right. Thank you,
And
thank you,
let me
listeners.
take one more comment from Nena on YouTube. So Nena says, Kid knows the game. The easiest way for women arise to go against him would have been for him to go against Erica's wishes and pick Nengi. I think
But
that's
it would have made it interesting though, wouldn't it?
yes. Well, more drama for us, I guess.
Yes, we want them to not care. Just play the game, entertain us. Come on, be brave.
Yeah, give us drama.
That's right. All right.
Before we move on, I know you guys are about to move on. What's the thing about that guest that the head of house is able to bring a guest, or what? I couldn't really understand what they meant. Can someone please explain?
If you
Okay,
please.
so in addition to the privileges that the head of house and the deputy head of house enjoys this week, Big Brother decided to throw in a little more, something to spice it up. So he said that the head of house and the deputy can each bring one guest into their lounge. Previously, other housemates weren't allowed to go into the head of house lounge, or their love garden, or whatever that place is called, they weren't allowed the high garden, okay. So they weren't allowed to bring other people, other housemates weren't allowed in there. So because I'm thinking maybe they would have felt like, in the course of the show, maybe some other housemates may never get to be head of house and they wouldn't really know what that place looked like. So they thought to make it a little more interesting by saying, okay, you know what, you guys, you can bring in your guests. So each the head of house is entitled to one guest, and the deputy head of house is entitled to one guest as well. So for Kidwaya and T-Badge, they both chose, of course, their significant others as far as the house is concerned. So yeah, that's that about that.
So you think it's because they wanted other housemates to view the lounge? I think it's because they knew exactly who the two were going to choose. All right, so they wanted
No, no,
some.
no, no, no. I completely disagree with that, Tola.
Nah.
Big Brother made the announcement before the show, like before the game commenced.
Oh,
So
okay,
there's no way.
okay,
Yes, I mean it's a game of luck.
okay,
There's no way Big Brother would have known.
okay,
Oh,
okay.
come
Sorry,
on,
sorry.
Tola
I
keeps
was,
seeing all this conspiracy.
I
I don't know
was
where she
no, but
gets
I
all this
was.
conspiracy
come
Listen,
from.
listen,
on.
listen. I was under the impression that the announcement was made post. Okay, I stand corrected, listeners. Ignore me, ignore me. You know, I've been suspecting these people. You know, trust me, trust
I
me.
know you're so suspicious. My God.
Conspiracy.
All right, listeners. Thank you for your comments regarding this matter. They've been quite elucidating. Is it elucidating? Well, sorry, forget that English.
I
Though.
beg leave the
Sometimes
grammar, Jerry. Let's be going.
English don't do too much sometimes. All right, so moving on,
You
moving
just
on.
wait, Tola. You just sounded like Kidwaya's pidgin English right now.
Oh, come on. See, you guys have to stop making fun of my pigeon. I'm trying. I'm really
Try
trying.
harder, girl. It's not
Like,
working.
my Yoruba is much better than my pigeon. One day I might surprise you all and just say something in Yoruba, you know, a sentence or two, and then you see my Yoruba is really good.
Someone
All
on
right,
someone on
so
YouTube said one La Rose. He says Afro definitely sounds how she tweets.
oh what?
Yep.
Yep.
I
You
like
got
that.
that
I
right.
like that. Plus the typos and everything. I like that. You know. Thank you. All right. So moving on to a very very big happening this week. All right. So this week, one of the cool kids in the house, cool kids in quotes, obviously, Neo made the very bottom of the bottom four. The entire house,
Yeah.
the entire house was shocked and shook by the fact that Neo, who they thought had the personality to propel him to the finals, they were all very confident. Even Wire, our resident analyst of the events in the house and outside, was super surprised to see him standing up as
No
one of the
one saw
bottom
that
four.
coming. Yeah.
Well, and what they don't know is that he was the least popular
Least of the
housemate,
least. Oh my goodness. Yes, he
you
was.
know, and that really shook up the house. Everybody started questioning their game after he stood up. You know, when that announcement was made, he stood up, he was shocked. There was audible gasps in the room with the association of mourners and comforters assuring V that he was going nowhere. And might I remind the viewers that listeners that until today, Big Brother has yet to speak about that, because that to me is conspiracy. They punished Wire last week for mere whispering of God knows what. This week there was open conspiracy. They didn't address it. Before you accuse me of liking conspiracy theories,
Erica was also punished, by the way, for Wire's
exactly.
whispering. I would never
Imagine
understand how that makes
you're
any kind of sense.
you're minding your business. Someone whispers to you and
Minding
they
my
punish
business,
you.
so
Yes, and they punish you. Oh ho! But this week there was
asshole.
open conspiracy, and they did
Yes.
not address that one. But anyway, let's talk about Neo standing up and the effects, the very obvious effect that had on the house. What was your impression of that development?
Okay, so if you remember last week on the show, we spoke about Neil's general vibes in the house. I mean, the confidence and the arrogance that he and V had been exhibiting at the house. So, like, the fact they were kind of assured of their continued stay in the house, even though they were not entirely bringing anything to the show as such, that especially in that week. So, I mean, like on the show, we had talked about it. Even a lot of viewers agreed that it would be good for these people to smell the bottom for one of them, maybe V or Neil. To me, because V had been at the bottom like 9 or 8, like repeatedly from the first week that they started eviction. So I thought that it was going to be V, since she's the one that. I was so shocked. I personally was shocked to learn that Neil was at the bottom, not only at the bottom, like the bottomest of the bottom.
He was the
like
made in China.
Made in China, yes, exactly. He was sitting firmly at the made in China of the bottom. So luckily for him, the housemates seem to like him a lot. I mean, so in his being quiet, he was also doing some on the G work, which is like, okay, so try to get, with the housemates. I mean, try to make up if he feels like anybody is fighting him. Because, he kept saying that to V, like, let me see me. I don't want to get problem with anybody for this house. So I don't want to get, how to be now. I don't want to get problem, So everybody that I had issues with, he found a way to mend fences with them and all of that, which is a very good strategy, by the way. Because if you realize that at some point on the show that your continued stay in the house is going to be dependent on these people, then I think it's wise for you to try to work things out with people,
Agree.
So yeah, that which is what he seemed to have done. I mean, imagine that not a single housemate had the guts to
Not a single one.
not one, which is why Big Brother asked them, do you guys think you're playing this game along the lines of friendship or is it strategic? And I mean, of which most of the housemates agreed that yes, they were mostly voting for their friends to stay on. So, so yeah, that's that about Neo for me.
For me, what was telling was that, I mean, to be fair, I think at this point in the game, if I were in the game, I would not vote out the weakest person that somebody that I perceived as weak, because I would need them as a buffer for myself.
Yes, yes, yes.
So even though they voted for friendship in the end, it's kind of strategic, because imagine if they had kicked out Kaisha last week, that would have made Neo more vulnerable this week. Do you see what I mean? So
I kind of disagree with that because I mean it was like not a single person voted him. So even if it was in the bottom, which he still would have been in the
no,
bottom,
no, 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 no.
it would
I'm
have
not
been
saying
anybody else.
No, I'm not saying they definitely wouldn't. They definitely would have kicked him out, but it makes it more problematic for some people, because if they imagine their reasons for keeping Kaisha the week they kept her was that she deserved a go in the house. She blah 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 blah. Do you understand? So they kept her for that
Yes.
reason. If she was kicked out last week, this week they would have had more time to bond with Tochi. Do you see what I'm saying? So someone like Kid, for example, would he have chosen Neo over Tochi? I don't think so.
I don't think so
I
too.
don't think so. So that's one definite guaranteed vote for Neo. That's what I'm saying. It makes him more, when you keep the weaker housemates in, weaker in quotes, it provides a buffer for you, the stronger housemates in the week going on. So even though Big Brother didn't see it like that, to me, even keeping your friends and whoever you perceive as weak is kind of a strategy. So, but anyway, his nomination shook the housemates. Everybody questioned the strategy, from Lakon to Erica to Kid. Kid and Bright had a gossip session about it in the arena during the workout, where Bright was certain that Neo was put up because he's fake, he lies too much, he knows all the streets in London though he's never been there, he knows the ticket prices, he's always loud, he wears designers, blah blah blah. So they're not brave enough to speak to Neo about it, but they're certainly wondering and speaking in their little groups, but nobody is brave enough to say, listen, guy, this is what happened. Neo himself was shaken to his core. And he took Ebuka's departing message where he said, okay, some of you started off on a high, you've kind of depleted. He's taken that very literally.
Very literally.
Do you see what he's doing this
Yeah.
week?
It's crazy. Like, yo, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's nuts. And Elsion says, I really like that Neo was in the bottom four. His airs had been too much and he really needed that humbling. Ems John says, in terms of housemates bringing content, I think Neo is up there. So him being at the bottom shocked me. I think it shocked a lot of us. Like if you said, we thought it would be V, to be honest, and hey, it was Neo, and hopefully we're guaranteed more interesting moments with him, but let's see. So as you guys are aware, the housemates lost their wager last week, right? So that's led to some interesting developments, if you won't you say.
Yes.
Yes.
So that now brings us to food wars and hunger in the land.
Oh yes.
So, I think I'll go first about this, Tola. Or let me ask you what your view is about what's going on in the house. Like, what do you think? How do you perceive the whole everyday fighting and bickering about food and who's hoarding food, who's hoarding what? So what do you think about that?
You go first. Let me rest my
Okay.
voice. You go first.
Okay. So, my first take on this is because I mean we realize there's a problem. So I'm going to say what I think the solution of the problem should be. Then I will discuss the effects of whatever it is that's going on in the house with regards to their food and supplies. So my first take on this is that the need to, as a matter of urgency, work out a way to manage their resources. Especially in a week like this when they lost their wager, and as such, they're not eating good. So I mean, they have limited resources. They don't really have so much. So I don't understand how one person is going to take a whole pack of sausages and make for breakfast for him and his significant other or two of their other friends. Do I agree that food should be rationed? Of course not. Of course, I agree. Sorry. Do I support that food should be hoarded? No, I don't. I find out really
Why are you
problematic.
asking
You know,
yourself questions and answering
I'm
them?
asking my end now because I can ask myself problems. So questions now. So yeah, so I do not support that food should be hoarded at all. Like, you know, but you see, if as an adult, the only thing you have to offer is complaining up and down. I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry. Because you can't
Give
sit on your ass.
give the
Listen now.
listeners a bit more of a context to this.
Okay, so basically last night there was the situation where pre praise, sorry, praise had gone on and on about um how Erica, okay, so Erica, Brighto, and Kidwaya made food. V and Neo and one other person made food as well.
Tola.
So, and Tolani Bajes. So I believe that this food was meant to be for the whole house, which is what most of the housemates also perceived, especially because Kidwaya had said, "Oh, I want for all of us to eat as a family." I don't even know where that boy got that idea from, for God's sake, but it's okay. Moving on. Like, I kept rolling my eyes in my head, like, "Yo, where do you think you are?" You know. So he had said to the housemates, "Oh, you know, I want for all of us to look like one big happy family," and yada yada yada. And those ones said, "Okay, no problem. Now make with the look." So everybody, you know, like they had made different things. What I thought they were going to do was serve up everything at the dining and then let everybody just get what they want to eat. But apparently, they still made it for their, you know, small or whatever.
The cool crew.
Yes, you know, so now Erica made food. I did not see this part, but then the housemaid said that, oh, after they made the food, and Erica said she was making vegetable sauce or something, vegetable stew. So when she was done, she took what was left. This is what I believe, oh, is what
What she
happened. I don't know.
said
What she
herself.
said herself, yes, that she took a part of it from, you know, like the general pot and then kept it
With
aside.
big chicken.
Tola, were you there?
No, with big chicken. No.
Tola, did you see this big chicken?
I saw the big chicken they ate the
You
night
saw the
before.
big chicken.
Yes, listen, the
we
night
were talking
before.
about
No, but this is instructive. The night before, if you see the big chicken they were eating, it looked like a leg and a foot. The chicken was big.
Okay, so Erica took this big chicken and kept it aside, okay, for whatever reason. Now there's talk in the house that she had told Wire to take it, go and keep it in the HOH
No,
lounge.
she herself took it to the HOH lounge. She told Lucy
okay,
this.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so she took it to the HOH lounge, okay, of which the other housemates were not pleased at all about this. Now let's go back to Praise a little. Before this happened, Praise was already whining to Kidwaya that all you people that have and that are booed up, you people cook. Me when I cook my noodles, everybody eats from my noodles. But you people, when you're cooking for your noodles, you say it's for my partner, it's for my partner. So that was his initial why he was mad in the first place. Then Erica now came to add this salt to his Praise's injury. So Praise went on and on and on about how Kidwaya, they're hoarding food and all of that, you know. Rightly so too. I understand why he'll be upset, but let me tell you what I really think. Because like I said before, if you're an adult and all you have to offer is complaints, Praise doesn't cook. He doesn't cook. Lakon doesn't. He cooks noodles for himself. Now there's nobody in that house, to be fair, who cooks noodles or cooks anything at all and eats alone. Not a single person. Everybody cooks. It's like one fork. You see when Kidwaya will cook, everybody wants, even say maybe like 2 forks, and the guy go get. Neo will cook noodles. Everybody will say one. Neo stuff sometimes he doesn't even get. So it's like the people that constantly cook are the people who almost get the least of whatever it is that they make. Nobody's in that house to feed anybody. You can't sit on your ass all day and then make zero contributions to the cooking in the house and feel justified to complain about how people who cook choose to share the food that they cooked. Most of the time, the housemates that cook share most of the food anyways to the rest of the housemates. Everybody in that house, there's not a single person who doesn't keep small food aside for themselves. So why that, Eric? Because even V, they do it now. Tolani Batch does it as well. So why they made this whole big production about it, I do not understand. That's why if you saw my tweets from last night, I said, lie, because this thing has a solution now. It's a simple thing. They just bought supplies. You go and make your own, happy? Because did your baby Naira buy the strength I used to cook the food or the skills I used to make it? Get off your lazy ass. Go and make something for everyone to eat. There are people who do not mind cooking, as a matter of fact, but not them complain past. There are also those who do not want to be cheated. So if I'm cooking all the time, and you're only just to be saying, I'm keeping food, I don't understand. Am I here to serve you? Because I remember in Double Wahala, Toby wasn't such a great cook, you know, but every time someone was making something, instead of sitting there and complaining about who's eating up all the food, Toby would actually get up and go and assist the person. So either he's chopping or cleaning or cutting up something for you. At least he go show the guy die, say, when his food done, my mouth be inside. Do you understand? So you can't be passive, you can't not make any contributions and expect that these people will still be no meal, I will not do it. So that's what I think about the whole food war going on in the house.
All right, interesting. I don't agree with Iffy at all. At all, at all, at all, in fact.
Because because the food, what is everybody's food is the food in its raw state. The
But
moment I get up and make, let me finish. The moment I get up and make this thing, it has become my noodles.
How
it is not yours. I'm
how
sorry.
are you interrupting my point that I have yet to make? Okay. I don't
Feel
agree
it
with
now.
Iffy
Everybody must
on-
feel up.
I don't agree with you on this at all. And let me tell you why. Not everybody could cook in the house. One. Okay, yes, all adults, be you male or female, should be able to cook. Okay, but it's not on top of my hunger that you practice your culinary skills. I'm sorry. Not everybody could cook in the house. Praise, in his defense yesterday, was chopping things up. He said this in his complaint outside, and I heard him. Now, if you're going to use general resources to cook, you can cook for yourself. I don't doubt it. When you make the food, it's for you. But you cannot say what's left over is for you tomorrow when there are people here today that I've yet to eat. In the food that V made yesterday, she was Tolani was saying, oh, put this one aside for Prince, it's for tomorrow. When there are people here today waiting to eat. Are you high? I don't even think this thing is a problem personally, because sometimes we make issues of things. If I'm in that house and I'm hungry and I go inside the fridge, anything where I see I go chop. Just let people understand that, because it's general house resources. Yes, everybody should learn to cook, but once you cook and you've taken out what you're going to eat for that particular time, whatever is left should be open season to whoever else is hungry. It's not fair that you will now imagine if the people are eating big chicken, and it's not like they get unlimited supply of chicken. So you've now carried the chicken, you've commandeered it to make your own meal, and there's some left over, and you're insisting that it's for you tomorrow, when I never see chicken chop.
No, but Sola, come on now. This guy was not, listen, there's nobody who came to ask for food who didn't get food.
No, but
there's
wait,
nobody,
you're forgetting.
The food was available for everybody to eat, if you're being fair.
If you listen, the conversation Praise and Waya had in the garden prior to the serving of the food, Waya and Lekon confirmed that last week they were able to get meat only twice during the week. Now, if you put that in the context of, I told you the night before, Waya them, Erica, Barge, Dozo, they were eating big chicken. So where did that big chicken come from? when people?
So wait, Tola, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but I insist that I am not anybody's house help. I am not your maid. Listen, if you want to eat, you can defrost chicken. You can help to wash it.
No,
you can help to dice pepper.
What you don't understand is somebody will commandeer the chicken and say, this is for me, I'm gonna cook. I will just be watching you. As soon as that chicken is made, if you make a mistake, I go chop her. No, I don't even need to argue.
The point is, you don't have to. No, I don't have to commandeer the chicken. What I'm saying is, you be like Toby, be wise. Once somebody brings something, mark the person up. If you cannot cook, it's okay. However, I don't think it's okay for any person.
Do you forget that?
Yes.
In the second week of Double Wahala,
they follow everything food.
Wait. In the second week of Double Wahala, when they had that big blow up in the kitchen, where D1 and Princess were accusing Toby and Sissy of carrying food into the HOH room, that HOH will eat, it will carry 2 big pieces of meat while they're struggling for meat. You don't remember that?
Food that who cooked. I remember that now. What I'm saying is, after that, moving forward, maybe they found a solution now, how to make their problem go away. This is week 5. Are you aware that this is week 5? They've complained for how many weeks now? Okay, now, do you remember, Natola, do you remember when it was Katrina cooking? Do you remember what happened when it was Katrina cooking? They were complaining that, how she will cook. But then Katrina used to make sure that food... Thank you. So what exactly? So these people are people that can never be satisfied.
This praise.
Katrina style. The same praise, Is it Katrina style? Problem. We do it Tolani Bad style. Still another problem. So can you see that these people are people that you can't satisfy? So just be you, I beg.
I agree.
I won't cook for anybody. When I cook, I will give my boyfriend, I give my friends, and my friends' friends if he remains. Me, I actually don't like hoarding. As a matter of fact, I don't like hoarding.
All I'm saying
So,
is, if you're gonna cook and there's some left over, you can't say, "Oh, it's for me on Friday after next." Eh?
all praise needed to do was to go up there and say, "Oh, can I get a serving of this food?" He didn't do that. He went in was whining like a
No,
2-year
it's
old.
fine. That's
Listen,
not
we're
fair.
all.
He's done that on a few
How
occasions,
can you
and
say that?
the way he has, I've seen it. Where they will tell him, "Oh, sorry, you're too
I'm talking
late."
about this
Oh,
one now.
it's not for
Erica, this is the
person.
first
Oh,
time
it's not.
Erica is cooking now. Erica know they cook now.
Now,
This is
so she
actually her
take
first time of
burnt
cooking.
plantain today, as she was there, or the plantain.
Mind your business. You're a hater. Go away. No,
Ricky,
wait, but for
baby.
real though. No, but for real, Tola. Erica know they cook. Yesterday was basically the first time that she was cooking, okay? And I mean, I know because all she does in that house is beggy food though, from week one. Erica does not make her
But
own food.
okay, wait,
Until
wait.
Kidwaya started feeding my girl good.
Okay,
She used to
wait.
just be begging from
Let
everybody's
me
plate.
ask you. Let me ask you one thing. Do you think Kidwaya
Go
is
ahead.
managing the situation properly?
About the food.
Yes.
No. I don't think so, to be fair.
Okay.
As a leader, what I'm saying is what he did was what a normal housemate would do. As a leader, you're supposed to lead from the where? From the back now.
From the
What I'm
front.
saying is wherever it is that he's leading from. So the thing is he could have handled praise better. Okay?
And you know,
Praise
it's
was
not
being-
just Praise though that has this complaint. He's just the only one with balls to say it. A lot of people have the same complaint. You know, he's just
But then
the only one with
it's
balls.
always him still anyways, because
Yeah, he
when he
likes
was
to
going the
complain.
other way, he's asking for now, he was complaining too.
That's
so
right.
it's not really
That's
about
right.
that. Yes, he was complaining when it was the other way. So what I'm saying is, in essence, is not everybody knows how to cook. I would advise for every person, you know, to learn how to cook, make an effort to at least know how to feed yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Then if you come to a show like this,
Yeah. If you come
so
to
when
a
you
show,
come to a show
like this, learn
yes,
to
for a
cook.
show like this, you know, you should learn to cook, learn how to make something for yourself. You can't depend on other housemates for sustenance in the house. I think that's piss poor. However, for those who do not know how to cook, there are things you can do. You can wash up, you can clean it. You can say, hey, listen, whatever you're making, my mouth day inside though, I can clean up after for you. Okay, I think that you cannot go and sit and be playing ayo the whole day. Then you're not gonna be complaining that I don't understand it. I'll never understand it. Okay.
So I'm going to take a few comments from the TL. Olarinwaju says, the food was cooked by Bright O for the whole house. The leftover chicken was a lot for them to personalize and keep in the HOH room. Thank you, Olarinwaju. I agree with you completely. Elsion says, I understand Praise's point about the chicken, and I feel the housemates should be more considerate with the quantity of food resources they use. Erica used 2 packs of chicken. Between Erica and Bright, 2 packs of chicken. They all need to learn to cook and stop embarrassing themselves on national TV. I agree with you, Elsion. Ovie, what did you want to say?
Okay, so my takeaway from everything you people are saying, this one was just too funny to me. Are you trying to tell me that some niggas ate meat only twice last week?
Yes.
What the hell?
Yes.
So what were they now eating with their food? Like, what was the protein they had?
They were
were
eating
eating
noodles
noodles.
without eggs. But no, but that was actually surprising because you know they had abundance last week now because they won their wager. So they must have had a lot of food.
When people eat the chicken with Gary, they will warm smoked chicken, eat it with Gary. Some people have cooked
Wait,
noodles and
what?
chopped all the chicken.
Thank you for bringing that up. Who were the
Yes.
people that were doing it?
Is it not Tricky that was fighting for their rights to eat noodles,
God
to eat
bless
chicken
you. Now
with Gary?
let me respond to that. When Kidwaya was saying, "Oh, I don't think that we should do food like," do you remember that conversation when he said, "Oh, I think"?
But
we should
remember,
ration
he
our
wasn't
food."
HOH. He was deputy HOH, and the HOH didn't support him on
Listen,
that.
let me land now. Let me land now. When Kidwaya was saying, "Oh, we shouldn't eat like this," I think we should come together and find a way to
Yeah.
plan our food so that we have enough and da. And then Kidwaya and there what's his name said, "Oh
Tricky.
no, me, I don't eat this one, that one. If I want to drink Gary, I'll eat with chicken. If I want to drink water, I'll eat it with chicken." Who was there to support? Who was there to support Trikkytee?
But
Praise.
that was, yes, that's true.
Praise was there to support Trikkytee.
It's
Okay,
always
so-
praise.
Yes, it's always praise. So why yesterday I did not even feel any type of way? Is my boy, by the way. So why I didn't even feel any type of way about this? Because he's just a whiner. He just likes to complain.
He likes
and
to
there's
complain,
nothing as unsexy as a complaining human being, like constantly complaining about stuff. So he goes this way, he complain. He goes the way, he complain. Tricky is drinking Gary with chicken, or drinking water with chicken, or drinking tea with chicken. You say, yes, thumbs up, my guy. Yes, everybody, now food for everybody. Make everybody chop. Then Kidwaya and his babe, they decide to cook for the house, and he's there for themselves.
big
with
chicken.
big chicken. I agree with you, Tola. Maybe we have already agreed that the chicken is big chicken, and then decide to keep some for themselves, and then this same praise is crying. Why?
Anyway,
Doesn't make sense.
my own takeaway is the food is for the house. If you cook and you remain, I go chop them. If I were in the house, and I advise the housemates to do that as well. It's nobody's food. It's general community food. Anyone can eat it once you've taken your portion.
Me, I go deck person, Sha. Just know.
May they deck each other now. We're here for the drama. You know.
Drama.
Oh, speaking of Trikkytee, he's a housemate we want to examine at length this week. Every week we're going to endeavor to look at a housemate in close quarters. Some of the ones that have been the more dramatic housemates we've talked about repeatedly, so we want to make sure that we get some time to talk about the housemates who are not so in your face. So this week we're going to discuss Trikkytee. Now, Trikkytee for the past 2 weeks has been up in the bottom 4 and has been saved by the housemates, which leads me to wonder, what is it about Tricky's game that isn't finding any resonance with the viewers? Because he's got little relationships in the house. When it comes to tasks, he's very vocal. They come to him sort of as an uncle for advice, you know, etc., etc. But he doesn't seem to have struck a chord with the viewers. Why do you think this is?
Honestly, Tala, I would say that I do not think that Trikkytee is very relatable. As a viewer, I have not been. It's almost like I do not remember Trikkytee. I'm not even going to lie. Like the first week, I thought he was quite annoying and all of that. You know, as much as Trikkytee brings to the show in terms of tasks, in terms of he's actually quite entertainment when it comes to drama, when it comes to those things, production
as well.
Yes, and all of that. And then the housemates also seem to like him as well. Because you remember the first and second week of the diary session when Big Brother kept asking them, so who have you bonded with? Who do you seem to be bonding with so far on the show? And more than half of them said Trikkytee, so I'm not exactly sure what happened. I think also because a lot of the housemates were just evolving at the time as well, so more noticeable characters in the house, so people tend to now draw to those other people. For instance, Kidwaya was in the first week was really like neither here nor there. It was almost like he wasn't even existing.
He couldn't talk.
Week 1, he couldn't talk because he had like a sore throat and all of that stuff. But then by week 2, he just came out of a shell. So people then, someone like Bryce got drawn to Trikkytee. But remember that in the first week, it was Bryce and Trikkytee, and so like the groups kept changing as the people evolved in the show and all of that. So for Trikkytee personally, I haven't made any connection with him. Like if Trikkytee stays or leaves, I do not feel, I don't feel anything for him, Jonathan. So, and I think maybe that's really what's going on with him and the viewers. But I think he's an amazing guy. He's very talented, and I really hope that whatever it is that's out there for him reaches him. Like you go reach your hand. Yeah. So that's about it.
As a member of the 30+ gang, I'm kind of drawn to Tricky because one of the older housemates. Also, I think what put me off him in the beginning was his. What's the right word for me to use now? He was kind of servile towards Nengi, always following her about.
I'm talking about her ass. I agree.
Bum all the time. He was ready to do anything for her. If the girl had asked him to get on his all fours and put her legs on his head, he would not have minded. That really turned me off him, And he's got this kind of. I mean, he's not a bad-looking guy, but he's got this comedic personality that makes the female housemates sort of overlook him. They don't see him as a potential boo or bae or whatever because he doesn't have any swag.
It's like the class clown, basically.
Exactly. He doesn't have any swag, When you've just got that kind of sickly like me, I like you kind of, not in the romantic sense, but the way he sort of ingratiates himself with to Kid prior to Nengi, it kind of turned me off him as a viewer, and I think a lot of people just forget now to remember him in the house, and I think it sort of worked out for him poorly, but he's a very useful member of the house. Like he contributes. I mean, Praise had this issue, and for the past 2 weeks now, the viewers have sort of appreciated his efforts, and he's sort of stayed out of the bottom 4. But now Tricky's suffering from the same problem. I'm almost certain he's going to be in the bottom 4 again. So it's probably time for the housemates to realize that, yo, we probably have
The
to let
viewers are
this
not
guy.
feeling him that much. Yeah.
Yeah, we probably have to
Yeah.
let this guy go, you know. And it's a shame for him, but it's also not a shame. He's made it almost halfway through the show. He's been able to show that he can direct, he can act, he can put productions together. So I think on that front, he's managed to sell himself. But
Yeah.
personality wise, memorability wise, he's sort of fallen well short of the mark,
I agree
unfortunately
with you.
for him. And Olugbemi says, Tricky is unremarkable. There's hardly anything distinct or memorable about him. In this house, in a house this large, that's dangerous. Interestingly, he's polled more votes than Neo last week, so there's some following. I agree with you, but I would like to think what happened to Neo last week was an aberration. This week is gonna let us know exactly what's up. If he makes the bottom four this week again,
Again, yes. And
yeah. That's the word I was looking for. Obsequious. Trikkytee is obsequious. That's when someone
Tola,
is
sorry, I beg. Speak the one when everybody, no be some people, everybody go understand. Oh yeah.
yeah, like he's not a strong character, you know. He's easily led and he kind of just follows and he wants to be liked, so he kind of dampens himself in groups, which, you know, doesn't look good. So I mean, I wish him all the best, really. I do. Do we have any comments from YouTube regarding Trikkytee?
Yes, we do. Justina Falojo says, it is sad that Trikkytee is always up. People made their judgments on Tricky the first day when he was shouting. It is really sad that he's in the bottom four, but he's really talented. Justina also said, I kind of liked his relationship with Kaisha. Yeah, that was Kaisha's friend.
Yeah,
I
but
think he's a one.
that made me uncomfortable. Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, like it really seemed like Kaisha is a special girl. It was very hard for people to relate or understand her. But then Tricky was one person who made extra effort, to listen to Kaisha, even when she was going off or whatever. Tricky was there for Kaisha. So yeah, I really hope that they find each other outside of the house, and I mean, just try to grow that friendship, because for me that was pure. Like he stayed her friend, even though sometimes she acts like you know. But
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
regardless of what the judgment about Kaisha was or how she behaved or whatever, so Tricky was there for her all
That's
the
true.
time.
That's very very true. So good luck to Tricky T. If he ends up in the bottom four again, I think it's probably for the best if they let him go, because psychologically it's a lot to take being in the bottom
Yes,
three
yes.
3 times and still being in the house. Because at that point you start to ask yourself, what else can I do? What else can I bring to the table that I haven't brought already? Whatever he does
Mm-hmm.
past this point won't be natural. The imbalance will be too much for him to overcome at this point, I feel. But let's see what the housemates do. So that about, unless you have anything else you want to bring up, Ifeanyi, I think that about rounds up our week
Yeah,
this week. You know,
I think that's
yeah,
about it.
excellent.
Yeah.
Once it,
Okay, maybe I should take two more comments from YouTube.
Housemate of the week. Oh,
we were gonna get there,
Oh,
OVA.
yes.
I'm
Okay,
just
so
I'm just throwing it out there just in case you understand. So you
All
guys
right,
are
all right.
feeling. All right.
Well,
okay,
tell us the usual
fine.
comments, please.
Okay. Opayemi Olawale says, even though he directs their play, he's still a shadow in everything.
Wow.
And then Titilayo Oluronsaye says, there's go away, Tola. There's other housemates that don't contribute much though, e.g.
No.
Ozo. Maybe it's a looks and eye candy thing as well. I agree
Wathoni
with,
contributes 0. Tolani Bash,
yeah.
she's my girl, contributes 0. So I mean,
Oh, Opa Lua Onoji. Tola, mind your business with my pronunciations.
so
Tricky, Tricky is a good team player in the house, but as a standalone housemate, he is very forgettable. Forgettable.
he is. Unfortunately for him, he is. Maybe if he were
Yeah.
taller, you know, him being
I wish
little
I
is
was
what
a
won't
little
help.
bit taller. I wish I was a taller.
Yeah, if you were taller, it might help. But anyway, you know, moving on. We're gonna take the final contribution of the week on the show. You know, it's been a fun time as usual. So dun 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 dun, drum rolls, please. OVA, hit that drop. Okay, OVA appears to be away. Hey,
Hey, hey.
yes. Oh yeah. Having reviewed the polls with over 2,500 votes for the fourth week, Your housemate of the week. She is known as the explorer, the life of the party. Your housemate of the week for the 4th week of this BB Naija lockdown edition is Dorothy.
Ooh, drum roll.
Dun, 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 dun. Congratulations to Dorothy and the Explorers, all her fans. Shout out to you guys. She had a really, really good week. She's grown this week. She's come more into her own, playing her own game, and I love to see it. I don't believe her thing will bright, but whatever she's got to do to get herself up from under that silly zone triangle, I support it. She is a vivacious, interesting woman, and I wish her a long stay in the house. Shout out Dorothy, you are our not just okay housemate of the week. Do you like Dorothy, Ifan?
Oh yes, I love Dara. She's a sweet girl. I think that I'm really happy. Like you said, whatever it is that she's doing with Bright, I don't care what it is, but anything but that the zone situation because it was really beginning to look ridiculous, you know. So I'm glad that like everybody has found their bearing as it concerns that situation. So now I think we can now finally lay it to rest. So rest in peace, the zone. Rest in peace, the zone.
Amen. I'm so
Yes.
proud of it.
So yes,
Amen.
we're glad to have our Dorothy back and everybody just playing their game as they want. So.
Excellent.
Based on what
So-
you just said, I think she deserves this drop.
Yes, being able to come on. Oh, they play it again. Play it again.
Correct beat.
That's right. She is
Yay!
definitely a correct babe. Thank you. Shout out to you listeners. Thank you for rocking with us once again. It was my pleasure. It was Iffy's pleasure. It was OVA's pleasure. We are much obliged.
It was our collective pleasure.
That's right. And we look forward to seeing you, hanging out with you once again next week as we examine all these small and big issues in the Big Brother Naija house. Iffy, what would you like to say before we round off?
Thank you for tuning in to the show. Please tune in again same time next week. Good night.
Excellent. We'll see y'all another time next week. Stay safe, stay COVID free. Shout out to you. Peace.
You're listening to the BB Naija Lockdown Breakdown on Not Just Okay Radio. You're listening to the BB Naija Lockdown Breakdown on Not Just Okay Radio.